Good day, my brothers and sisters, children of the light, and the day, as the Apostle Paul calls us in 1 Thessalonians 5. I want to have a quick chat with you about the title, Son of Man. It's such a fascinating and beautiful title. Now, in the Gospels, we find two titles that Jesus described to himself most. It's Son of Man and Shepherd. And then in Revelation, he refers to himself as the Lamb, or the writer John refers to him as the Lamb, mostly in Revelation, the book of Revelation. Now, the Son of Man is often wrongly interpreted. Most people think it just refers to the fact that he became a human being. He was also perfectly human and had a human nature. Remember, we believe that he was perfect God, perfect man. And that Son of Man just means he was a man. There was one aspect of his being that he was a man. I don't think that is a wrong interpretation, but that is not at all the extent and the beauty of that beautiful title, Son of Man. Now, let me just point out, take a step to the side, there are many enemies of Christ that will take that title and say Son of Man as to be proof that Jesus wasn't divine. How utterly foolish. So let's quickly reflect on what Son of Man means. Now, you know that perfect, godly standard Scripture interprets Scripture. So one Scripture referring to a certain subject is interpretation of other Scriptures referring to the same subject. So let's go to the Old Testament. Then there's two things. The two prophets, Daniel and Ezekiel, both prophesied in Babylonian exile in the 6th century before Christ of the Jewish nation in Babylon. Both of them prophesied at the same time, and both of them were called Son of Man. So the year was two prophets prophesying to God's people in a time of spiritual turmoil, also political turmoil for that matter, because of their failure to be true to God. Because of their spiritual disobedience, there was exile, and these two prophets spoke the truth in spiritual exile. Now, this is the first point. Jesus was the Son of Man, capital letter S, because he came as the arch prophet, as the holy and divine, the ultimate prophet, in time of severe spiritual and political exile in a way. Although the Jewish nations in the first century wasn't in political exile like in a different country, they were dominated and ruled by quite cruelly by the Roman Empire. So they were in a way in a political exile. And the arch prophet, in the fulfillment of the Ezekiel, Daniel example, came to preach spiritual truths to the people of God in their political and spiritual exile and correcting their way of serving God. We find so many times in the gospel that Jesus says, you have been told X, but I tell you. And then he has a different interpretation of Jewish law. So firstly, that's the first meaning of the Son of Man, is the true fulfillment of the two sons of man, Daniel and Ezekiel, that preach in specific spiritual and political times, being fulfilled in Jesus, the arch prophet, the godly prophet, preaching again in spiritual and political exile to bring the truth to the people of Israel. Remember in 1 John 5:3, it says Jesus came so that we can know the true God and his truth. A second reason is we find in Daniel 7 the reference to the Son of Man that comes with the clouds of heaven. He's taken into the presence of the Ancient of Days. And it says he gets authority to rule all the kingdoms of his world. And it says his dominion will never end and never be compromised. So clearly in Daniel 7, we see it's a divine figure in the presence, in relationship with the Ancient of Days that has all powerful might and power ruling over the earth, and his dominion will never end, and there's no end to his dominion. And I believe that's probably the most important reason why Jesus constantly referred to himself as Son of Man in the Gospels. He was saying to the Jewish people who were supposed to know the Old Testament very well, the one that was spoken about in Daniel 7, the divine being in relationship or closeness to the Ancient of Days, him, the Son of God, who has almighty power and endless dominion, are standing in front of you. That was the reason he used the term Son of Man. And every time he used it, he was proclaiming his deity. for the people who were listening. So actually, that's actually a beautiful meaning. He was proclaiming his fulfillment of the Daniel 7 prophecy. My brothers and sisters, please go to my website, www.glitterforchrist.co.za, or type in my name, Heinrich Lottring, YouTube, and just many, many, many other videos and sermons to listen to and watch. Please download, send it to other people as a form of evangelization. That's how you can evangelize. Remember that saying, if you're not evangelizing, you're an imposter. Sorry, it's true. No Christian can just be saved. You must be saved and share the gospel with others and the beauty of the Bible with others. That is true salvation. So, do so. It's my true benediction for you that the one true living God, the Holy Trinity, will richly bless you.